if you're younger than me, almost everybody is, this may not be as understandable to you, but I smoked for years. And I started smoking when I was a young teenager. But at the time I started smoking, that was common in our culture. I mean, people weren't saying that smoking was bad. By and large, people were saying that smoking was good, right? And it was really a bad thing. And I can remember, and anybody who smoked should be able to remember this. The first time you picked up a cigarette and puffed on it, you had to overcome that.
Yes.
It was horrible. But because of the peer pressure, because of the pressure to fit in, to fit into the culture, you overcame, you got past that horror, and you got better at it.
Yes.
You became accustomed to it. You practiced.
Yeah.
I have a problem with anybody that shows me a drink, for example, or a food, and say, well, it's a developed taste.
Well, you have to develop a taste for it. Yeah.
Hey, if it doesn't taste good the first time, forget about it. Get it out of here. Ching, gone, out. I shouldn't have to develop a taste. I shouldn't have to learn to like something. It's either good or it's not good. Well, the problem is, then once you start smoking, oh my goodness, what a hard thing to get rid of and out of your life. Because that thing that started off hard becomes a part of you and becomes so incredibly difficult to get rid of. Well, that's true of sin in our lives. When we tolerate sin in our lives and we allow it. When you're first saved, and, it's like, oh man, you just don't want sin in your life.
No, everything is.
But then maybe you just,
start to
let a little thing in and tolerate it. Well, everybody's doing this, it's so. And then the next thing you know, you don't even know you're doing it. Or when you do recognize it, well, everybody's doing it, and it becomes so difficult to deal with. We have to become, let me rephrase this. We live in a world and in a time when one of the great graces is to be tolerant. Tolerant of this and tolerant of that. And one of the great sins in the world, according to the world, is intolerance.
That's true.
And one of the worst things that people can call you is, "Oh, you're intolerant." I'm intolerant because I have the mind of Christ. And may I become intolerant of sin. Totally, completely, and absolutely intolerant of sin in my life. Because if it doesn't start with your own life, if you don't become intolerant of sin in your own life, you have no right to be intolerant of sin in anybody else's life. I promise you that. And anytime you become intolerant of sin in somebody else's life, it better be because you love them. And your purpose is to help them get away from that addiction that is deadly. But we need to become intolerant because God is intolerant of sin. 6 things does the Lord hate, yea, even 7 are an abomination. The church has become tolerant of way, way too much sin. We have as much, if not more, divorce within a church than in the world. In spite of the fact that it is clearly written and should be taught that God hates divorce. Now, I don't sit here in condemnation, for there is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. But that doesn't mean we're going to tolerate. We want to deal with these things because God has the power to correct. And He reproves, He disciplines those whom He loves.